Okay, we're going to talk about this exact topic, Hebrew. Okay, take your notebooks out because we're going to learn some amazing stuff today. Let's start with a couple of words in Hebrew itself, because all of you are doing Hebrew class here, yeah?
No.
You're not doing a Hebrew class here?
They just didn't have room for me. They were like, sorry, you registered too late.
Wow. Okay, well, you better get on that because it's coming. What do you call Hebrew in Hebrew? Right, Ivrit. It's absolutely correct. Yeah. But let me ask you a question. What's it called? How do we refer to Hebrew? Lashon Kodesh. Lashon Kodesh. What does Lashon mean? Well, literally it means tongue, but it means speech. Speech. What's Kodesh? This is a very important word. Holy is correct. That's how it's translated. But what does the word Kodesh or Kadosh, same thing, right? Kadosh actually mean? We translate it as holy, but it actually means something.
Separate.
Very good. How do you know that?
I went to a media movies class for a bunch of fun.
You said good. Separate. Distinct. Apart. Not the same. There are a number of things in Jewish life which we will discuss this semester, which are called kadosh. Does anyone know what they are? Because they're all going to have something in common. Certain things are referred to as kadosh. What do you refer to as kadosh? Let's make a list. 1, 2, 3, 4. What do you refer to as kadosh? Give me some examples. What's kadosh? What's holy fast? What? Sorry? God, right? Hashem is kadosh. Yeah. What else is called kadosh? What did you say?
Shabbat.
Beautiful. Shabbat is called kadosh. What else do we refer to as kadosh? Oh, thank you. No. And the Torah, beautiful. The Torah is called kadosh. What else is kadosh? You what? The wine, you make kiddush on the wine on Shabbat. So you actually sanctify, you bring in Shabbat with wine. You make kiddush on it. You're absolutely right. It's called kiddush from the same root, yes. But it's related to Shabbat. You're mekadesh Shabbat using the wine. But you're absolutely right. Anything else? There's one big thing you're missing. Actually, two, actually. Two you're missing over there. What else is kadosh? A place, Eretz Yisrael, Eretz HaKodesh. Israel is called kadosh, and the Jewish people are called kadosh. If all of these things are referred to as kadosh, they have something in common. What's that? They're different. They're separate, distinct, apart. Yeah. Hashem is the ultimate, distinct, and separate entity. Shabbat is different from every other day of the week. Right? Sunday and Thursday for us, same thing. Shabbat is different. The Torah is kadosh. Right? It's the holiest thing that we have. Which is why we put it behind a curtain. Which is why we take care of it. We respect it. Yeah? Eretz Yisrael is not like any other land. Every 4 steps you walk in Israel is a mitzvah. Did you know that? Every Daled Amot you walk in Eretz Yisrael, the Gemara says, the Rambam brings it lahalacha. Why? Because you can walk around Manhattan all day. All you're going to get is a little bit of exercise and some interesting smells and views these days. But that's about it. You walk around Israel, it's kadosh. The Jewish people are different. We have a different mission. So we are kadosh. Actually, within the Jewish people, the Kohanim, right, the priests, are also referred to as kadosh. Yeah, they are also kadosh because they are a separate entity within the Jewish people who are also called kadosh. That means they're separated out. Okay. Hebrew is called Lashon Kodesh. Why? Why would a language be different? There's so many languages out there. So many languages. Some very beautiful languages. If I were to ask you, what's a beautiful language, what would you say? French. I think it's a beautiful language, you know. You can say whatever you want in French, you sound amazing. You speak French? Yeah. I know you do. You speak French?
I speak French.
Fine. So I say to you, bonjour. And I say, je m'appelle Laurent. Good? And I say, je n'ai pas de chien. What did I just say?
Nothing.
What did I just say?
I didn't touch.
Je n'ai pas de chien.
I don't have the.
I don't have a dog. But it sounds amazing, doesn't it? You can say complete nonsense in French. It sounds amazing, right? It's interesting, right? You have some languages that are very, very descriptive, like English is descriptive. They say Japanese, they say, I don't speak it. Some languages are harsh, like Russian and German. Right? We Jews have a bad experience with the German language. But for us, there's something which is called a holy language. It is Kadosh, and that is Hebrew. I want to reveal something to you amazing right now, which I should have actually started the semester with, but it's going to blow your mind. Where does this come? What's the root of this idea? Okay? And then we'll look at some very interesting and fun examples of this idea. You write this all down? It's going to be your midterm. You're being warned. Marvelous. Okay. So, we know the Torah is in Hebrew, it's in Lashon Kodesh. Actually, it finds its holiness in and from the Torah. What's the first verse, the first pasuk in the Torah? The first verse is Bereshit, bara, Elohim, et ha-shamayim, ve'et ha-aretz. Bereshit bara in the beginning, Elohim, God created the beginning, or the beginning of God's creating is actually how Rashi interprets it. Created et ha-shamayim ve'et ha-aretz. Now this verse, so let's do it in English. In the beginning, now you've learned this verse already, yes? Hashem, God created heavens and earth. Right? Or in the beginning of God's creating, if you go with Rashi. Let me ask you a question. Just the English, look at these English words. This is amazing. Check this out. You're going to love this. What is the English telling me? Just the English. It's giving me, this first verse of the Bible is giving some very interesting information. What's that? There's a God? Gisela? Is it telling me that? Yeah. Was there a beginning to the universe, or was it always there? There was the beginning. Was God around in the beginning? Great. Did God do something in the beginning?
Yes.
What's that?
Created
What did he create?
heavens and earth.
Heavens and earth. So we have a lot of information over there. We have, first of all, there's a God. We know that there was a beginning. The world wasn't always there. God created something. Ex nihilo, yesh me'ayin. Right? Something from nothing. We know that there was no heavens and earth because if there was heavens and earth, we would have to create it. And we know that this God, whoever this God is, was there at the beginning and created the heavens and the earth. So we know who, and we know what, and we kind of know when. But there's something we don't know. What don't we know? What are we not being told? How? Very good, Ruth. How? Isn't that weird? We're told all this information. You could look at this verse, chapter 1, verse 1 of the Bible, and you can read it again and again in English, and you'll never have any inkling of how God did it. Because the English won't tell you that. It's just not there. It can give you some information, right? If I was a Christian minister, which I'm not, Gabby, I'm not, I'm a rabbi, I promise. But if I was a Christian minister, I would be like, in the beginning, God created heavens and earth. Lord, that's amazing. God bless you, right? And it's pretty good. I could just that. But as a Jew, I'm like, no. As you, I want to get something more out of this. I want to know how God did it. How? Well, where would I find that? You have to go to the Hebrew. You have to go to the Hebrew. Why? So listen, this is very important. This is a crucial idea. You're not going to hear from me again to get it right now. And it will make every Hebrew word you ever say, ever read, completely different. There's an extra word in this verse that does not need to be there. It has no translation. That word, however, is there for a purpose. Say, I think it says the Baal Shem Tov, and the Kabbalists speak about it. Do you want to know what word in the Hebrew pasuk is there, which has no translation? Bereshit, in the beginning. Bara, created. Elohim, God. Et, Hashemayim, the heavens, the earth, and the earth. Et. What is et? The letter Aleph and Taf. say the rabbi is an amazing thing. This is going to blow your mind. I ready to have your brains completely explode. Turn to guacamole. I like guacamole. You ready for this? They say you can actually read this verse completely differently. You can read this verse to read, in the beginning, God used the letters, used the letters Aleph through Taf, the heavens and the earth. What's Aleph? The first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. Right? What's Taf? The last letter. So now, in the Hebrew, I'm seeing something unbelievable. It's actually revealing to me how God did it. How God used the Hebrew letters, Aleph through Taf, to create the heavens and the earth. Hebrew is the genetic code. Whatever this means, I don't know. I'm not a Kabbalist, that's above my pay scale. But there's something in the Hebrew words themselves come and reveal to us how God created the world. Now, this is going to have very important ramifications to being Jewish, because we're obsessed with Hebrew. And that is, if you look at a Hebrew word, listen very carefully. If you look at a Hebrew word, the Hebrew word is going to tell you about that thing. Let me explain. The Hebrew word for a word and the Hebrew word for an object are the same. What's that? The Hebrew word for a word is a davar. Daled, bet, resh. Right? Vaydaber, and God spoke, yeah? And God spoke. Daber is to speak. But a davar is also something else. So it's a word, but it's also, a davar is a object, right? A thing, very good. A thing, an object. You see? Why? Because, this is very important information, this is deep, I know. The word is the thing, the object. The word is the thing. I'll give you an example, and then it's a little esoteric, and you'll understand this perfectly, you'll be like, aha. You can have one of those aha moments. This is a table, yeah? Right, agreed? What came first? The first ever table, or the word table? What came first? The first ever table, or the word table?
First ever table.
First ever table. Someone put together 4 sticks, put something on top, right? And so we've got to call it something. Right? Can't call it a banana because that's like, a yellow-shaped fruit. You can't call it a chair because you sit on those. So I'll call it a tablet, came a, tableau, became a table. Right? So first came the object, and then came the word. Is there any relationship, listen carefully to this question, is there any relationship between a table and the word table? The actual word table, is there anything about that word that connects it to an actual table? If you want to change it, let's say they made a law in America, this is no longer a table, we're going to call it a paluli. Right? A paluli. Why? We want to change it. Is there a problem with that? Have we ruined the table in any way? No, it's irrelevant, yeah? Call it whatever you want. Right? Just don't call another object. We in Judaism say the exact opposite. Listen very carefully. God created the world using words. The word Vayomer appears 10 times, or is referred to 10 times in creation. God spoke the world into being. Now, this is going to be very important next semester when we talk about Lashon Hara, because words have the ability to build and to destroy. But I don't want to get into that right now. I want to talk about words themselves, because words are so important. God used actual words to create the world. Right? Like a computer program, words create, they build. So according to that, first didn't come the table. God used a word, the word came out, and it formed around the word. If you break down the DNA of any object, the word is the thing. Are you following me? This is too much for a Thursday morning. The word is, God spoke it into being. God said a word, whatever that means. I don't know how God says words, but whatever that means, so we understand it. And then the object appeared. The word created the object, not the other way around. Now, if that's true, and it is, if I want to know anything, any object, or any idea, all I need to do is go to the Hebrew word and I'm going to find out what the thing is. Because it's not two separate things. The word is the thing. Can I give you an example so you're not too confused? And these examples will concretize all of this. If you're not clear what I'm saying, ask me. This is crucial information. What's the Hebrew word for a dog? A kelev. Right? Chaf, lamed, vet. Let me ask you, ladies. Please tell me. Kelev. What came first? The first ever dog or the word kelev? So we would say, well, the dog came and then they had to find a name for it. And we're like, no. That's just our relation to it. Somehow, this word is a dog. You can see a dog in the word. Can you? What's kelev? Kelev is actually two words put together. Kol, lev. What's kol lev? All heart. Man's best friend. The word kelev is actually a contraction of two words. Kol, lev. All heart. That's the essence of a dog. Dogs are the most loyal creatures, right? Which is why the cow gives us its milk, and it gives us its skin, and it gives us its milk and meat, and we leave it out in the barn, and the goats are outside, the dog's in our house, and what does he do? Yip, 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 right? But the dog's a loyal creature. It's a very heartful creature. We love our dogs. I mean, most people I meet who have dogs prefer them to their own parents or grandparents, you know? Everyone loves their dogs, you know? The essence of a dog is it's all heart. That's the way. The word itself is really, how can the word know? Because God used the word to create it. It's the prototype. In the word itself is the answer. And it's going to work with every single word. I'll give you plenty of examples. Right through the semester we'll look at them, but I'll give you a few just today. I'll give you some fun ones too. Here's a good one. What's the Hebrew word for face? Panim. Panim. A, nun, yud, mem is the face. Now watch this. What we're saying so far, Valentina, follow carefully, is that God used Hebrew words to create the world. That's the genetic DNA, the spiritual building blocks of this world, actually, and the next world. And Olam Haba created both. That's why it begins with a bet. Torah begins with a bet. Tell you this is two, yeah? Bet is two, the second letter, a bet. So Hashem says, you know what? I created two worlds. That's why it doesn't begin with an aleph. The Ten Commandments begin with an aleph. But the Torah begins with a bet to say God created two worlds, Olam Hazeh and Olam Haba. This world and the next one. So how did he create this world? Using words. So God spoke out the word and the thing came into being. Whatever that means. I don't understand that, but that's what they say. But that's important information. Because if that's true, if I want to know what anything is, even people, I look at the word. There's something in the word that's going to reveal that thing to me. An idea, a thought, an event, anything. The Hebrew word for a face is a panim. But what does that mean? A face. Yeah, but it's going to be something else, right? You getting the idea? The same letters, spelled the same way, in the same order, actually spell something else. Anyone know? What other word can you see there? This is panim. But you can change this to something else. Do you know what that is? Change the letters and you get pernim. Pernim. What's pernim? Inside. Now that's getting interesting. Now you're telling me the same word means a face, but also means inside. Which means some way, in some way, if it's got the same word to describe it, this word over here, face, is related to this word inside. And what's that connection? Well, it's pretty obvious, right? How do you know how someone's doing? How are they feeling emotionally? Do you look at their hand? Do you look at their knee, their foot? What do you look at? Their face. A person's face is going to reveal to you how they're doing inside, right? If I were to walk in this morning and I'd be like this, I'm having a bad day. But if I walk in this morning and I'll be like this, I'm having a good day. How do you know? Your face reveals your inside. Nachan? Your face is actually representing what's happening inside. And interestingly, you don't look at your face. You people have been lucky enough to be looking at my face today much more than I've seen my own face. I was in the mirror, I check it out, and I'm gone. Which is why in Judaism, actually, your face belongs to other people. I heard from a teacher once, beautiful idea, many years ago.
Wait, your face belongs to others.
The Rishta Rabbim, yeah. Because your face is in the public. I can't see my face. God made it the thing that expresses you, that gives expression you can't see. Your own one. You can only see other people's. So your face doesn't belong to you, it belongs to the public domain. The face I give you becomes yours. If I'm like this, makes you happy. If I'm like this, makes you sad. I can't see my face, but I'm sharing with you. And what am I sharing? How I'm feeling inside. Nachon? How about this? Have you ever met a guy or a girl who's really, really good looking? Like beautiful. Most stunning woman you've ever seen in your life. Right? I mean, just gorgeous. Oh, the guy is just like so good looking. He's got perfect blonde hair and the dimple in his chin and the smile and the ding, you know. Beautiful face. And then you get to know them a little bit and you get to know their insides. This is a beautiful truth. And they're not nice people. And what happens? Their face, they become ugly. They actually become ugly. Or the other way around. You meet someone who, oh my God, I cannot look at him. Oh my, look at that girl. I can't put a bag on its head. I can't look at it. And then you get to know their insides, and they're really nice people. And what happens? They become good looking. Their face changes because the inside reflects on the face. My wife says, when she first met me, okay, never mind. And interesting, the word, what is the English word face? Where does that come from? Facade. What's facade? Outside. A facade is exterior, all outside. It's external. And we say, no, the face represents the inside. The inside actually shows itself on the face. How do I know this? The word itself is revealing it to me. Can you see that? We're going into the Hebrew word, and it's going to reveal truths to me, and every Hebrew word has this power. Objects, things, ideas. Let's do the most famous one, which every girl that goes to Israel to study for a year, which most of you didn't do, so we'll do it today. They all learn about the following word. And what word is that? Every girl in seminary always learns about the word for love. What's the Hebrew word for love? What's the Hebrew word for love? That's two lovers, a female. Love is ahava.
Sorry, yeah.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize. What's ahava? To love. Oh, just looking at the word ahava. Now, most people think this is a cream they sell in the malls around America, yeah? Right, there's Israelis come over here, they're selling ahava cream everywhere, you know what I'm talking about? Come, Valentina, I give you some ahava cream, like, Uri, don't touch me, right? Don't come in with that ahava cream for $78. Right? It's cost you $3 with the Dead Sea, if you came from the Dead Sea. Right? Ahava. Before it was a cream, it was an idea. Now let's follow this carefully. Start again. We're going to recap. If God created the world using words, and first came the word, then came the thing, what I'm able to do is I'm able to go to the word and see what that thing is. Because it's not two separate things, table and T-A-B-L-E, two separate things. They are together. The word itself is the thing. So if I want to know what that thing is, I look at the word. Which means if you want to know what love is, if you want to know what love's got to do with it, you're too young, right? The Hebrew word is what? There's something in that word that's going to tell me all about love. Some secret, by the way, this is the most important thing in here for me the entire semester. Ever heard this idea before? Every seminary girl in Israel learn one of the first things they learn. What's that? So you're getting it now, Baruch Hashem. What's the root of the word ahava? Hav. What does hav mean? See, that's the root. The root. When we say the root, that means there's two or three. Most people say 3 letters. A shoresh, right? That is really the essence of the word. What's the word hav? It means to give. Write this down. To give. What is love for us, Ruth? Giving to people. Is that true? Is that true? Is it true that if I give somebody something, they're going to love me? That's not true. How can that be true? I give my kids everything. They say, oh, I hate you, Abba. Why can't you give me the bigger one? Why not the more expensive one, you know? We have people give their kids whatever they want. They want to go to bed at 3 in the morning. They don't do their homework. They want to give them candy for dinner. Let them go to bed. And the kid ends up in therapy. My parents were cruel to me. What are you talking about? I gave so much to my kids. I'll tell you why. People make the following mistake. They think, listen to these words, this is going to change every relationship you have. It's actually in the book, by the way. If you give somebody something, they don't love you. If you give somebody something, you love them. The love follows the giving. If you give somebody something, you actually love them. The act of giving itself makes you love somebody else. The recipient may love, but they got to give as well, because they're taking. Which is why a mother loves a child more than the child loves the mother. Because the mother gives, gives, gives. And what do children do? What we all do as kids? Take, take, take. Right? That's what children are, they're takers. Okay, if you're lucky, you get like a diaper in return for the first, few years, but that's about it. You treat your kids. If you want to love somebody, you give to them. If you want someone to love you, they're going to have to give to you. It's just the way it is. This is the essence to every successful and failed relationship. All relationships, by the way, not just like, guys and girls relationships. I'm saying all business, family. You give, you love. If there's one way giving, it's not a relationship. Now, sometimes you got to take. No doubt about it. I mean, someone's got to give, someone's got to take. But if there's no coming back and giving both sides, every relationship begins hopefully with two people giving. If one starts taking, then it's over. I mean, it's not over. If both are just takers, not givers, then it's over. Right? So love us is to give. Okay. How do I know? It's in the Word. But if that's true, then shouldn't we also say that your word is going to teach you about yourself? What's your word? What's the word that describes you? Your name, right? So we're going to take this to a whole different level now. Oh, we're flying now.
So I've been waiting for.
What's the Hebrew word for a name?
Shem.
Shem, right. Shin, mem. Shem is a name. Now, what does that actually mean? What? Sham is there. So your name is going to teach you where you're going. Because where is there? Where's there? I don't know. But it ain't here. That much I know. Involves movement. But check this out. What's the Hebrew word for a soul? What's the Hebrew word for a soul? Right, the main part is the neshama. Nin, nun. Mem, hey. Neshama. Can you see it? Shame. It's that. If you want to know what your soul mission is, it's in your name. There's something about your name that reveals who you are and what you're about. Which is why you think your parents named you. Actually, according to the Rabbi, the Arizal says, the Kabbalah say it's not true. They can't. Because your parents can't decide your essence. Only God can. So where do you get your name from? Well, when you name a child, parents get Ruach HaKodesh, some heavenly spirit. It's not prophecy, it's lower than that, but it's up there, and the name is given to the child, because it represents their essence. Your name is who you are. When a person converts, they take a Hebrew name, right? They'll choose a name they connect to. That's why why do we name after if you're Ashkenazi, after the dead, and if you're Sephardi, we name after the living. Why do we do that? Who here is named after an ancestor? Why do we do that? Just choose a new name. Right? This is Barbara, this is Sheila, that's it. Grandparents, oh no, that was Henry and Mildred, whatever it is. Why do we choose? Because the name itself represents that person's mission, and in some way, somehow, it could be that that mission is passing down. You're taking an essence of that person. Which is why, actually, you've got to be careful the names you use. meaning how we name children. You can't just choose any name. You don't name after an evil person, right? You choose a name that's a good name, because in the name is something good. Avraham is a good name. Avramon, the father of many, right? These are all good names. If the original Avraham, but also your grandparent could be Avraham. Right? Sarah, right? Sarah, princess, royalty, right? Sarah Main gets passed down. These are very, very abundant, but not all names are good. There's a fashion to name kids in Israel Nimrod. Nimrod. Like, is that a good name? Well, not so simple, because you look at the original Nimrod, he was a dictator. Now, they like the name because he's described as an Ish Gibor, right? A very strong man. And, Israelis want to be strong. But he was a very, very bad person. So Nimrod, probably shouldn't be used as a Jewish name.
What about people that invent names? There's a girl in Malaga. Her name is Iloveni.
Is what?
Iloveni.
Oh, I've heard that before. What is that?
It's very serious.
You should, it could be there's a tradition for it. If there's a tradition that comes down for a particular name, right? Feminizing names, masculinizing names, there's this idea people do it. But you got to speak to someone who knows what they're doing. There's something to it. My wife has a certain, sixth sense, whatever you want to call it. And while she was pregnant with all my kids, she guessed the gender, which is pretty impressive, right? And she knew the name. She knew the name. So this is the name. So she gave birth to our second daughter, who, Baruch Hashem, is 13 years old now. And she says to me, so she gives birth, so she says, I told her it was going to be a girl. I was like, okay, there you were right. She goes, the name is Chaviva. I'm like, I'm sorry? It's like Chaviva. I'm like, what's that? That's her name. I never heard that name before. You can't call it that. She's like, well, we are calling it that way. I said, well, I can't call it that way. And we name different customs. Most people name the first time they get an aliyah to the Torah for a girl, or on Shabbat in the synagogue. That's usually the custom amongst the Sephardim. It's just Friday night, and Erev Shabbat, before Shabbat, I call my rabbi, and I'm like, my wife wants to name the kid Chaviva. And I was like, I hadn't heard that name before, he said to me. Doesn't sound familiar. He said, most important thing is don't fight over it. Fail. And he says, you shouldn't give the kid a name that's going to embarrass them. Right? You can't call your child Moonbeam. And in the end, do what your wife says. So it's Friday night, and I'm with my wife, Friday night table, and we have to discuss it. We have to name the baby tomorrow. She's like, okay, the name is Chaviva. I'm like, but it's weird, I've never heard that name before, but what is that? She goes, that's the name. She wasn't hearing it. So I got a little upset. I got into a bit of an argument about it. I said, I'm going to do Onkelos. Onkelos is the translation, the Aramaic translation of the Torah. And it's a mitzvah to read Onkelos on Shabbat, or in the week preceding the Shabbat. I pull it off, and I opened to that week's Torah portion, which was Vayigash. Vayigash. And over there it talks about the battle between Yehuda and Yosef. And Yehuda is fighting, right, because he wants Benjamin to come back home. And he says, you can't separate my father, Yaakov, from Benjamin, because Nefesh Kashur B'Nefesh. His soul they have a soul connection. What does Onkelos say? Chaviva. So there it was in the Parsha. So I said to my wife, open the book. There it was. The name was in that Torah report of that week. I was like, you win, that's the name. And then I was reminded by one of my rabbis after Shabbat. And I called my rabbi back, and he's like, because I'm not superstitious, but I opened my Gemara. The first name I saw was Rabbi Chaviva. And he doesn't appear too often in the Gemara, in the Talmud. And then she was actually born on Hanukkah. And Hanukkah is the only mitzvah that the Rambam describes as Chaviva ad ma'od, very, very, very special. Chaviva means special, dear, important, He's like, she's born on Hanukkah, that's the name. And that's the name. She's very Chaviv. Very special young lady. Okay? So the name itself that you have is like your barcode. Every object has a barcode on it, right? What does the barcode come to do? It tells you about the object. You go to the supermarket, it's like you have the red light coming on the thing I'm talking about, and you pass the object and it goes blip. And up on the screen comes all the information. Nachon? It's all, but where'd it come from? It was all that little, I just saw lines. I didn't see it. It's all there. where it comes from, when it was made, how old it is, which company produced it. All the information you need to know is over there. What it weighs, everything's there. Your name is your barcode. It reveals who you are. Why? Because that's your davar, that's your word. It's your essence. When you pray for someone, when a person is praying for someone, they use their name. Why? Because let's say a person gets very, very sick. Heaven forbid. What do? They change. Why do they change the name? You got to be very sick. If a person has to be very sick for that. But why do they change the name? For a boy, they add Raphael or Chaim. You know. For a girl, Chaya, life. Why do they do that? Because you're actually really saying, according to some opinions, that David was sick. But David Chaim, different person, different name. He's not sick. You're changing the person and their mazal by changing the name. Is that unbelievable? The name itself represents the person so much. Different name, different person. Ah, this person's not sick. So when it's coming down from Shemaim, this person's sick. It's like, oh, different person. He's okay. You try to change their mazal.
What about people that have the same name? Do they have the same mission?
It could be. Everyone's mission is unique. It has your parents' name, father's name. It reflects you in your way. Yeah?
But how can it be your way if you don't choose it? I mean,
Beautiful. Because God chooses it. God knows your mission. It doesn't tell you can mess up. A person can have a mission in life and still not do it. God said, these are the tools. These are your personality traits somehow, what you're about. That's what God gives you. God gives you all the traits you need to succeed. And the stuff you don't have, that's not your mission. So the traits that you have are your mission. All we're saying is, according to some people, that can be seen in the name itself. And that's why God has to give you, and your parents can't give you a name. It comes through Ruach HaKodesh.
And if you have like a bad name,
There are people that I'll give you an example. I had a student of mine, and she was dating a guy, and I'm a lovely guy, and he had a name, and his name was Omri. Omri. Okay. So we're about to do the wedding, and I have to write the name of the ketubah. It comes up when you write the ketubah, right? The marriage document, you've got to put the name in. So there's a great rabbi who knew that I was doing this, and he said, we've got to change the name. So why? Because, well, Omri is good, but I mean, it sounds like a beautiful name, but there was a king, Omri. He did some good stuff. He did some bad stuff too. So don't take any chances. And he changed the name. And he goes by Omri in English, but his Hebrew name, his essence, it's different. And he changed the name. And his name is now Noach. You see what I'm saying? It literally, you don't choose badly. You've got to be very careful. I'm not an expert. I know a little bit, but there's a rabbi uptown, Moshe Weinberg, he's the expert. He's got books on this, he's the expert in this. Yeah, great rabbi. Rabbi Moshe Weinberg is a very great man. Very great man. Yeah.
And if your parents choose your name not because of someone from the Bible, like it's because of your grandparents.
Right. It could be.
So you follow the way.
You follow the way, yeah, that's fine. Listen. Using Torah names are always good, unless they're not meant to be used like Nimrod, right? But usually you name after the time of year. Around Purim time they use Mordechai or Esther, people do that. Or they name because of a deceased grandparent or a great uncle, right? But Hashem is really making the decision. I had a friend of mine, I'll never forget this. So we named a boy at the Brit Milah, at the bris. And he said he was about to give the baby over for the naming. And he stopped the whole ceremony. He said, 1 second. And he ran to his wife. And they whispered for like a minute. Then he came back and said, what's the name? And he gave the name. So he said, well, you don't stop a Brit Milah. What were you doing? I'll tell you what happened. He says, I was standing there. And I said, the name that we chose last night, not the right name, he said. It just wasn't sitting well with me. And I said, another name came to my head, he said to me. I'll tell you a true story. And he went to his wife. And he said, listen. And she's like, not the right name. He goes, how about this one? He said that and she goes, you know what? I was thinking the same thing. That's a good name. And they named the baby that instead. At the Brit Milah, they chose a different name completely. And they both had this feeling it's not the right name, this is the name. Does it define you? No, but there's something in it that shows your essence to some degree. It works by people, it works by objects, and it works by ideas. So I mentioned this, I spent a whole class doing this because we're going to talk about a lot of Hebrew words. You're going to hear a lot of Hebrew words. And all the time we're going to say, well, what does the word actually mean? What does the word Shabbat mean? Something in the word Shabbat. What's the word Pesach? It's going to mean something. There's a reason why it's called that. There's something about that name that's going to reveal something to me. And if there is no Hebrew name for something, then that thing doesn't exist. You think it does, but it doesn't. Like the word fun. What's the Hebrew word for fun? So people usually say kef, but that's Arabic. There's no Hebrew word for fun. What does it mean? We don't have fun? We have enjoyment, we have hana'ah, we have ahava, we have love. But fun means I'm doing it because it's fun. Right? It's fun. No, you do it has to have a purpose. Right? I'm going to play tennis, it's fun. Play tennis, you exercise, you're building yourself. There's always a purpose. Fun, I do it because it's fun. That's not a Jewish idea. There's a Hebrew word for it. Unless it's a new invention or something. I'll find a Hebrew word for it. But talking originally, if that emotion existed and the word does not exist, it doesn't exist at all. All right. We did a lot today. Have a Shabbat Shalom, or please God regroup on Tuesday to carry on with our course.